and get into it because I don't know my password. Did he send it to you too?
We're live.
On what? I'm gonna send it to you. Braxton Harrison at PM.
Realtor Weekly Stats.
All right, we're live. Let's start this thing.
Live on live, Braxton. This is a Real Estate State of the Union, where we talk about what we did last week. Braxton, what'd you do last week?
Got one deal.
That sucks. Let's let Sohail roll his intro so we can get some inspiration.
This stream is brought to you by GBT Property Management. Thanks.
Pretty sharp intro.
That's a real sharp intro. What you think about it, Braxton? Our little setup here is a little wild. We got the R2R in the background, got another R2R.
A little different.
A little GBT Property Management.
Yeah, a good backdrop. Make Jacob happy.
That's good. Jacob, I hope you're watching. If not, might not be happy. Did you get access to our stats?
Yeah, so it's just how many listings that we got right now.
That's it?
Yes.
That's all he got for us. Why don't you talk into the mic?
So let's see. Chris has 14.
Chris has 14 listings. How do you grow 2 by this week? One of them's going to be the Athens deal.
Kitty's
the
got 9.
Canton deal.
Yep. That got added. Kitty's got 9.
Okay.
Looks like Micah has 7.
Really?
With 2 of hers under contract, 3 of those leased.
Let me see this. Let me see it. Let me see. Let's see what kind of nonsense Spoon sent us. Spoon's a little under the weather. He's probably watching. Spoon, if you're watching, drop a $10 bill in the super chat for making me and Braxton work so hard this morning.
Yeah, where is he?
He was coughing still yesterday. You remember? It was really annoying. And he's like, I don't think I'm going to come in because I'm coughing so much. And we were like, oh, okay. You know, that's whatever. And then he literally called later. He's like, y'all don't really need me, do you? Because I just don't think I'd be that much fun coughing. So, anyways, I was like, Spoon, it's whatever you need to do, old son. You do whatever you need to do. So, we got some stats here. This is kind of wild. Somewhere there was a picture of our format, so this is going to get a little squirrely because we don't have Spoon. He's the glue that holds us together, Braxton.
His notepad.
He's got his notepad to keep notes. So days on market, Chris. Well, I don't think Spoon ever got these.
Updated
from the time that they've been listed because he's got a 207 days on market on one of these, and Chris hasn't been a licensed real estate agent that long, so that can't be right. That's probably just days that we've owned it, which isn't very accurate. But 207, 167, 163, 123, 110, 96, 69, 69, 61, and 41 are the showings for Chris, or the days on market for Chris, and then 20, 38, and 5. The 5, it's going to blow your mind. Somebody called it. You remember that duplex in Old Canton?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of that thing? Did you ever look at the pictures?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. Straight enough. Who's clean-ish?
Yeah. So we tried to send an appraiser to it. What did he say?
Wouldn't do it. Not enough data. He'd appraised it as a single family.
Why did he say that?
Because there's no other duplex or something?
No other duplexes. Guys, I'm telling you right now, anytime something's grandfathered in, that means it's rare. It's like the 8-plex in the historical district of Ennis.
Yep.
The only one in the historical district, the only one that will ever be in the historical district. And the city, by the legislation, the Texas legislation, will not let them come in and veto that until it's been vacant for so long. So if it exists, it's going to exist forever. as long as it's in its current form. Now, this wasn't a duplex. If it was a duplex that used to be a single family house,
Like they converted it.
yeah, a guy just went in there and turned a bedroom into a kitchen, threw up a wall. Probably not good, but this was built as a duplex in a single family neighborhood that is now outside of the zoning. And the appraiser, the real estate expert, would you call an appraiser an expert?
Yeah.
Would not appraise it as anything other than a single family. And I'm like, look, we don't have time to mess with this clown. I don't have time to explain to him. Whoa. I don't have time to explain to him what's going on here. So we just swapped it over to private money. My nephew closed on it. 5 days on market. Guess what offer we got yesterday?
Full price?
No, we listed it for $139. He bought it for $80. That's with our assignment fee on there. And he got a $120,000 cash offer on it. Jeez. So first real estate deal. Again, landlord. What have we been looking for in our personal lives? Who have we been looking for in our personal lives?
Landlords, people with good income that can take something and not worry with it. Just
and what else do they got to have?
They're lendable. They have good credit.
Good credit. So I went to visit my niece. Her fiance at the time, now husband, was there. We actually have kids the same age, so Biggins and Logan were playing around. And I just hit him up. I said, "Hey, bro, what's your credit like?" And he's like, "I don't know." Why? No, and like, what is it? He's like, "I think it's around 770. I was like, "Good. How much money you got in the bank? How liquid are you?" He's like, got $10,000 or whatever in the bank. I was like, "That's enough." Early 20s, doing phenomenal as far as I'm
like
concerned.
21 or 22. So
Yeah,
like
homeowner,
young, already doing it.
already in there. So, anyways, I was like, "Here's what you need to do. I'm gonna do it." He's like, "I'm in," and then he started texting me like screenshots of his credit score. And I was like, "Look, man, I'm going to find you a deal. Don't worry. I wasn't going to put him on, and it just so happened, got one right around the block from his house." I said, "Man, you're going to do this deal. Don't worry about it. You don't have enough cash reserves to do anything bigger right now. This is perfect size deal. You're going to have to do your own maintenance. You're going to be your own maintenance man. But who do we know that can do maintenance?
People.
My brother." I said, "Just call old people up. He knows how to fix all that stuff." And so anyways, we put him on it, got in there. He's got that 120 cash offer listed at 139. He's got 2 more offers on the way. And anyways, we countered 132, and that's it. 5 days on market isn't accurate though, because it's 5 days from ownership. The real days on market, I think Chris got that listed on Sunday or Saturday.
That's crazy.
I mean, just I put on Twitter this morning. You can follow me at Roughneck to Real on Twitter. The market's making us all liars. What else happened yesterday, offer wise? Our Waco peak purchase got a full price offer on it.
The one deal we were really afraid of.
Yeah, wholesale deal. So we've been talking about it. I said in one of our meetings previous, I was like, I think we need to be a little more patient. If it's a 90-day market, we don't need to be in such a rush. The biggest deal for us was getting all of our peak purchases rented to where we could get them refinanced on yesterday's appraisals. Because what do you think appraisers are doing right now?
Starting to draw back.
They're starting to discount and draw back, even though the comps, they don't have any comps. They're just inserting themselves into the equation and giving you an appraisal that's really subjective to what they believe is going to happen in the market. It hasn't happened yet. Prices really aren't softening enough for them to be interjecting themselves like they are.
Not enough neighborhoods have tanked.
Yeah, not enough data out there has shown that it's tanked, and even tanking is relative. I mean, it's just not. We had 170, 180 house in Pleasanton that as is should appraise for around 150, 130 at the worst, and we got a $100,000 appraisal on it. It's like, that's what you're up against. So we got a $100,000 appraisal on it. It's currently rented for like $1,600, $1,700 a month. We've got like $90,000 in debt on that property. So we're just going to swap it to long-term private and just leave it on long-term private.
Appreciate a little bit.
I mean, ultimately the market will dictate what that property's worth. If it goes vacant again, we'll doll it up and throw it out there. It'll still sell for 170, 180. That's an affordable house. So anyways, I mean, that's kind of an amazing stat. closed this week, which I guess last week's closing kind of carried over today. We've closed Sunchase. I don't know if we closed our property in Chandler.
Yes, I think that one did.
Chandler did?
He said yesterday it did.
So Chandler made about $6,000 on that one. Sunchase made about 20. It did close yesterday. And then we have our last flip that we're going to make about $4,000 on that y'all did the electrical work on that's going to close this week. And an owner finance bought a property for $85,000. Owner financed it for $160,000. Kind of as is. I think we paid somebody to go do some flooring there, but they really didn't fix anything else. It's kind of amazing that property sold like that, but that's kind of the game. Sold one note, Fox Street, made $10,000 on it. Got our collateral straightened out on another note, have 4 offers on it, so one of them should domino. So the note market, selling notes is still hot.
It does seem like we're, I don't know, still getting action on them.
Yeah.
Like on all of them, they're getting some interest. Like not any change, I guess.
No, I haven't noticed a difference. I mean, it's the same.
Couple people every time, just
poking around at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, it really is a good investment. I mean, hell, when they're buying that paper, that 160 note, we get it, it'll be a 150 note. We'll sell it for like 110. So, I mean, and these are unseasoned notes as well. I mean, we haven't collected a single payment on them, so we could season them and probably do a little better. Total showings for the week. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but we've got, this is in the Austin Metro, 8, 15, 5, 4, 3, 1, 9, 0, 0, 7. That's kind of amazing. The 0, 0 is 2 properties that I don't think they're listed yet.
Which ones? The Jordanton one?
Yeah, the Jordanton ones. And then Micah, Dale Court is sitting at 0 showings. Does that shock you?
It does.
You would think somebody would look at it.
That's weird.
It's a little strange. That's a lakefront house. I guess it's wintertime. Nobody's lakefront shopping. So that's a little weird. And
still, though, I mean, like, it's not overpriced, I don't think. And it's like, it's nice, too.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean,
it's not always going to be winter.
Well, but I mean, people want to live on the lake as probably small. People that want a second home on the lake, probably a little bit larger. You know what I mean?
You think the people that want a second home is bigger than the amount of people that want to live on the lake?
Yeah, I do.
It's weird to think about.
And I think they're not in the marketplace right now. I think there's too much uncertainty in the economy. It's kind of like buying a house in the mountains. It's like the houses in BFE Mountain Town probably are experiencing the same thing. 8 showings. That's 8, 2, 2, 3, 1. What's this one? Oh, yeah.
But we saw Airbnb data.
Do what?
We saw Airbnb data in the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
That was still pretty booked up.
Not really. But we've never looked at it. We don't know if there's 80
that's
homes.
True. If that's
you know what I mean,
a whole lot more or less.
We don't know anything about it. We're still gonna go see if they got a better price yet. We'll know this week more than we knew when we first looked at it. Because if they've lowered their price now because they realize they can't be gouging you the closer you get to Christmas, there's a ton of people that probably want to spend Christmas at an Airbnb. I would think that would be a good time to go. Kids are out of school. I would think it would be a little bit more demand, but we're not looking in places that were very popular. They're not ski towns. So, so I don't understand Spoonie's data here. Days on monitoring to contract average is 75 for Chris
Can
Lower.
someone brush off that white, lint or whatever that is in front of the HB mug?
Oh my God, that's my cocaine from earlier. Is that good?
Yeah.
It was distracting, Sohill.
Sohill's got OCD. Spoon, if you're watching, drop $10 in the power chat. Anybody else that's watching that ain't subscribed, now's the time to subscribe. Spoon, I don't understand your data. So throw $10 in and tell us what's going on here. 182 days on market. So I guess that's a Chandler property. 75 on the Cameron property, and 4 on the Canton property. And we got 60 and 148 for Kitty. And for some reason, you don't have anything, or actually, no, those 60 and 148 is for what the hell? Oh yeah. So the we did get another contract, that Paris property.
Yes.
So we bought a portfolio of homes in Paris, 4 houses, sold 2 of them cash, basically covered our cost basis then, borrowed money against the other 2 to remodel them, to remodel both of them. Anyways, we got one remodeled, and the other one we got an offer on that $16,000. So essentially what that does is we've got a property that's now rented for $900 a month. We'll have $50,000 in debt on that property. It's remodeled and rented, so it's just sitting there. And then we still got $20,000 in the bank for the remodel, and now we're getting a $16,500 offer for the other house that the $20,000 is to remodel. It's a big house though,
So it's gonna have a lot of money.
yeah. So essentially, on that deal, we bought 4 houses. We're going to end up with one levered at $50,000. So that one that's levered at $50,000 is rented for $900 a month. Perfectly safe amount of leverage on that property. We can leave it on long-term private. We can refinance it with a bank, which we've already started the refi process with the bank. So no matter what happens there, it's going to be fine. And then the other house will pick up $16,000. Still got 20 in the bank. So we'll take that, throw it in cash reserves for the rental properties to operate the other rentals. Or in the case of this property in Jordanton, if we decide to go through with a refi, we'll take that money and use it as a down payment on the refi. But I think we'll just use long-term private on it. But either way, not a bad gig on those properties. You know, you never want to sell something in your mind, you know what I mean? But I love hitting the easy button. We don't have the bandwidth to keep up with what we got on our plate right now. When do you think we could actually make it to Paris and remodel that other house?
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling.
Yeah.
It's just far away
It's far away
from everything.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. I mean, we're selling it for $16,000. You know, Spoon was going to counter like 40 or something. And it was like, no, man, take the offer. Just take it. There's nothing good or bad that can happen. They're gonna be bragging to their friends about the house they bought for $16,000 that was listed for $35,000 or whatever we had it listed for, and we're not gonna care because we got 1,800 square foot of shitty home off of our books, because $20,000 stretched across 1,800 square foot of remodel was gonna be painful anyways. We're gonna end up with more money in it than what we had left in the rehab budget. So. I mean, that's kind of it. Marketing wise, Braxton, you did a thing before Thanksgiving. What'd you do? Tell the good people of YouTube how your Thanksgiving went. How that Wednesday specifically.
Wednesday night started about 4 p.m. Set out on a journey of bandit signs.
Where did you go?
Started in Luling at the Buc-ee's.
Okay.
I guess I went. Lockhart was the first place I slammed.
Okay.
Then to Luling, and then into New Braunfels. Hit New Braunfels pretty hard. San Marcos Outlet Mall.
Okay.
Started making my way up.
Hold on. He doesn't mean any of those locations. Allegedly.
Right.
But you essentially did every Buc-ee's in the southern part of the state.
I just made a Buc-ee's loop, because then went over to Bastrop, same thing.
Yeah.
Got all around there.
So were you stabbing them in the Buc-ee's parking lot or at the exit?
At the exits, but mainly if I could, like, cross the street on a feeder road or something.
To where whenever I'm trying to pull out of a Buc-ee's,
You're looking right at it.
I'm looking right at the sign.
Then I'd slam the intersections.
So what was the idea behind doing Buc-ee's on Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving's probably the most traveled holiday of the year.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna stop at a Buc-ee's.
What do they do at Buc-ee's?
They spend money, spend their time,
Take a little
get fuel.
shit?
Yeah, like it's just a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Christmas shop while you're there.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that you can't do.
That's right.
But either way, at some point you got to leave, and at some point when you leave, you're going to see a sign that says, you know, that person solves my problems.
Yep.
In theory. And so it would hit all those. Got into Austin, same thing. Started working back.
And so, what time did you get done?
I was in bed by about 5:10 that morning.
5:10 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So 13 hours of bandit signs.
Yep. Couple hundred miles.
Did you track exactly how many miles?
I can tell you.
Nah, it don't matter. I mean,
Well, I took a picture of it. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
and our boy Brenton.
He crew 2. They made a trip too.
So
382 miles.
382 miles. That's
Healthy amount of driving.
healthy the night before Thanksgiving. Now, this has been a Thanksgiving tradition for us for a number of years. It occurred to me when I was living in the RV. When I was in the RV and I didn't have Emery, so it was like, you know, you on a custody deal, you get your child every other holiday. So, you know, like typically how it works is one Thanksgiving I have her, the next Thanksgiving her mom has her, and Christmas are the opposite. So when you've gotten laid off from your high-paying oil field job and you don't have your daughter on Thanksgiving and you're living in an RV now, you know, your own thoughts can be very dangerous. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you could really feel sorry for yourself if you just stayed in that situation. So what I started doing was the most traveled holiday ever, I would go do bandit signs the night before Thanksgiving. Simply because when you don't have your daughter, and this is, you know, probably a lot of single dads out there that'll feel this, when you don't have your daughter showing up to Thanksgiving with the rest of the family, it's like why like everybody, like answering that question, where's Emery, 25 times. It's like, well, it's just not a very pleasant
Better
deal.
off going to work.
Yeah, you're just better off doing the work.
Better off working on her future.
Yeah, so I just would go do that, and then I'd be tired at Thanksgiving, and I'd just eat some turkey and take a nap, and everybody would be like, what's Corey's doing? Like, oh,
Thanksgiving was different this year.
yeah. It's like, what's Corey doing? Oh, he's you know, he worked last night. And like, oh, okay, yeah, he's asleep. So, anyways, that's one of the reasons why I started. But then we made $70,000 on a deal that we got on Thanksgiving, and so far that was your first real run at bandit signs.
Mm-hmm. Full night of it.
And y'all did 450 signs. Brenton did his. He took the North Loop, Bucky, so he went through the Dallas Metro.
I think it was like Ennis, Waxahachie, Terrell, then over the top of DFW, Denton.
I mean, he smoked it.
Alvarez,
I drove up here today.
It's a healthy drive.
His signs are all still up. So, now the results.
We have been getting some calls. I've probably had, I think, 4 wholesalers call off it, or buyers or whatever. They're like, yeah, add me to your list.
Add me to your list.
One guy in Forney, I think, wants to be a contractor for us.
Find contractors. Now, I haven't taught Braxton the full bandit sign game, so what do you do with contractors?
I took down his info.
Yeah, you turn them into bird dogs. Here's how you do it. When you take the call for a contractor, you say, great, man, I'll hire you tomorrow. Do you know where a vacant house is? Do you know where a vacant house is that you drive by in your normal travels? Yeah. I drive by one over on 6th Street or whatever. Great. Give me the full address. I'll buy it. You can be the contractor on it.
Okay.
You turn them into bird dogs. Code enforcement. Got any code enforcement calls yet?
The one cop.
Yeah, we won't mention where. But anyways, you turn them into bird dogs. What about the lady, Miss Peggy or whatever her name was?
We tried to convert her.
Turn them into bird dogs. Every single person that calls. Somebody calls, hey, I see you buy houses. Do you rent houses? Absolutely, we rent houses. Matter of fact, you find one for us to buy, I'll rent it to you. Turn them into bird dogs.
Okay.
So every junk haul out people, when you finally get the people that clean out houses, those are the gold nuggets of bandit signs. When they call and say, hey, I clean up properties, that person, if they are any good at business at all, like we just watched a little BNI group down here doing their thing, the junk haul out guy, if he's got ads out, if he's doing his bandit sign game, if he's on top of his game, who calls him to clean out houses?
someone that needs a house cleaned out.
No. Family with dead relatives. They've already done the estate sale. Everything's left behind.
That makes sense.
So when he calls, now you got to say it's a different line. Hey, look, how many estate sale cleanups do you do? How many estate sales are you a part of? So you ask that, great. I need their contact info, and so it's a different conversation. It's not, hey, and then absolutely you can clean out every property we get forever. You give me one deal.
You got that.
You will clean out every property I buy for the rest of forever. Because it's a sunk cost. You're going to pay somebody to clean it out anyways.
So it's like you can't beat that either, though.
So in and of itself, bandit signs always are a good lead source because it creates bird dogs. The newbie that calls creates a bird dog. Used to, when sub 2 wasn't so mainstream, it would create a bunch of sub 2 leads because an investor would call and you'd be like, hey, do you got a deal that doesn't have any equity? If it doesn't have any equity, I'll buy it and I'll pay you $5,000 if you give me a deal with no equity, because then you could take over that person's payments. And typically on those, they're already not behind. They're not in foreclosure. They don't have any arrears. So it's just you pay closing costs and then $5,000.
They want to walk away.
And then you take over the house and put a tenant in, or used to we don't, or finance them. We don't do that anymore. Bandit signs. But overall, are you happy about the leads you got, or a little bit like
they're still coming? That's what makes me happy about it.
Yeah, they are.
Like if we get the fact that we got calls on Thanksgiving, that's where it's like, okay, that was it works some, so it's like that makes it worth it. And it's like you think about it, how much we used to spend on like text marketing or something, like how many leads or how many texts we would send for however many leads. It's like we're already getting a better rate of response rate, it seems like, percent wise. Yes. And
last year was COVID year was the only year. Was it COVID? No,
didn't do it last year.
We didn't do it last year. It was the only Thanksgiving that we skipped. But the bandit signs do better not on Thanksgiving. Is that funny? It's the most traveled holiday on planet Earth. I've always tried to beat the system. I've always thought, so I started out doing 100, and then I didn't get the responses that I normally get doing bandit signs. So then I would do 200, and then we did 500 is the most we've done on a Thanksgiving. DJ of all people was a part of that, but yeah. So we've always upped the ante on the number of bandit signs we've done, and really 500, 450, 500 is enough to get enough deals to make it worth your time. But 100 or 200, it just didn't convert. But normal bandit signs, 100. If you're going to leave the house, if you don't do 100, the metrics, the KPIs, like you can put out 50 and it might happen, okay, but mites are on a chicken's ass. You know what I mean? And you don't want no.
Get what you mean? It's like, and the time that you're going to spend doing it, it's like you're better off just
doing 100. If you're going to get off the couch, just go do 100. Don't shortchange yourself. Don't go try to do 20. Don't go try to do 50 and hope and pray, because then you're relying on luck. The KPIs tell you if you do 100 bandit signs, you will get one deal. Most likely you'll get more over time, but you won't. If you're doing them consistently, you won't know which round of signs it was that did it. So we're not consistent with our bandit signs, but they are very, very good if you're a newbie. Very easy way to build a cash buyers list. Very easy way to grow a network. Very easy way to get your first contract. You'll see on the negotiations, it's just like a mailer lead. A bandit sign lead's even better than a mailer lead as far as how warm they are. When you're looking at the ground by a stop sign, reading a yellow sign, and go, that guy can solve my problem, you're in some type of way. You know what I mean? So, what else, Braxton? We make any money last week?
We did make a little bit, I think.
I don't remember what we made, but I think we've been
some older stuff funded, so it makes you feel like
that's the problem. It's like we talk about what closed, and then it doesn't fund for. Feels like forever. I'm like, what?
So you never know. Checks are just hitting. You're like, I don't know what this is from.
Yeah, we got a $5,000 check from something. Oh, that dumbass deal in Mahia. Crazy people. They claim they own the house. They claimed they were the seller of the house. When we're now trying to evict them, and they claim they're the seller of the house. They're like, no, I own this house.
Do you think they just name drop, like...
They did just name drop.
Just
Whitley,
like...
Yeah, Whitley don't play that shit. Whitley's like...
That's cool. We own it now.
Whitley's like, no, we close on this with the person you just said you are. And she's like, I'll be out by Friday. Well, that's a lie. Just stay with that eviction. Just keep it going. Just don't let your foot off the neck. They ain't going to be out by Friday. So 3 strategies better than bandit signs. That guy owns a text marketing company. So I'll bet texting is in there.
Digital advertising, cold call,
Mm-hmm.
state listing.
Conduct targeting in-person outreach.
Solid in-person interaction can be more impactful than any advertisement or cold call.
But finding motivation is the key to all of this. And I wish we could get the name of the Twitter layoffs, see if they need to sell. Worth it. You know what I mean? But
there's got to be a service out there that can get that data.
Yeah, just say, hey, Elon, what about the Facebook layoffs? Oh, 11,000 people. They wrote an article. This is off topic, but they wrote an article about those 11,000 people that got laid off from Facebook. And 2 of them were husband and wife, hired out. Both took maternity leave after a month on the job. Facebook's maternity leave goes into effect day 1. They both took 6 months off paid for maternity leave, came back to work. So they worked there a couple of months, came back to work, and then they're swept up in the round of layoffs. And they're like, I can't believe this happened. You didn't work there most of the time you worked there.
Yeah, this isn't a 10-year employee that's like, oh my gosh.
I mean, you didn't even show up. Like it's crazy to me.
It's a good gig right there. Start somewhere, just
well, and the comment section on that particular thread was like, it was really telling because the average human does not get those kind of benefits from their job. They don't get 6 months paid family leave for having a child. You get what I mean? They get the 12-week
Do you
non-paid.
think they should?
It's hard to paint with such a broad brush. There is a level where it does make sense for a certain amount of time for somebody to get paid leave, that somebody being the mother. The problem is people that work the system, because the father, I've been there 2 different times. We are useless. We are useless humans after a certain number of weeks go by, as far as the child is concerned. They don't want nothing to do with us. They ain't about that life. But something interesting, Biggins' mom got fired from her job for being pregnant.
Really?
Perfectly legal. Did not know that.
That's crazy.
I just to see the other side of the coin, like I do get it. If you're not able to perform at the same level, it's like, hey, we hired you to act in this role.
She didn't get fired for not being able to perform the job.
See, that doesn't.
She got
make sense
fired
anymore.
for having to take the time off to care for the child.
Seems like you would at least ride it out till.
It seemed like they would just put
wait
you
till
on
the last second. Yeah.
Well, no, she did. She like it didn't have nothing to do with it. It's just the way. So if you've been employed someplace for a year, they have to give you FML, whatever it is. She hadn't been graduated from college for a year, so she hadn't had her job at 8-9 months. So she didn't.
That's terrifying.
She didn't qualify for FMLA or whatever it was. So they fired her. Had to go on COBRA benefits. Craziness. Like, it was just crazy too. I was like, nah, this ain't legal. This ain't legal. This ain't normal. This ain't right. Let's look into this. Like, I've taken FMLA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've taken it to go care for my dad whenever he had cancer. I was like, they have to give it to you, and they can't demote you. I mean, that's what the FMLA, like, you got to come back at the same, that you have to come back at the same pay. You can come back at a less job. You know what I mean? They can make you be the janitor, but they got to pay you for the CEO wage. You know what I mean?
If that's what you were before.
If that's what you were making. Like, but anyways, yeah, they fired her, and she hired back, and they hired her back. But
It seems weird that you would even take that risk of firing someone for them to go get unemployment or however. It's like, why not just say, hey, like, you're not getting paid or whatever. I don't know, like, what the right way on that
It has
is.
to be less than a year, right? I don't think you'd get unemployment. I think for the employer, there's no. Correct me if I'm wrong, Corey.
No, during that time, COVID bailed her out, so she did get unemployment because everybody could get unemployment then. You alive, unemployment. So it was a weird deal, but the circumstances surrounding it were just strange. So I do believe that FMLA should definitely, you know what I mean, it should protect your job. Like if you hire out, like if I'm 8-9 months pregnant, how do you expect me to get a job? It's like
Yeah.
If there's no protection, it's like
It's
nobody's going to hire that
literally
person
evil. How are you going to care for that child without your job?
without your job. That's right. But the 12 weeks is more than enough time. I will say that. As far as an amount of time, by the time 12 weeks rolls around, baby's good and hearty, nice, solid. Well, all mine have been good, solid children, big, meaty, heavy eaters. You know what I mean?
I do take more of a capitalistic approach, though, and say that I would say leave it more up to the company's discretion, and a better company's going to have a better policy that's going to attract more employees, better employees.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't want to work for you. You don't offer as good of benefits, and so I'm going to go with the person that's going to give me the better maternity leave, better benefits while I'm gone. Man, that company's going to do better because they have the better plan. They take care of the employees better.
Ideal dream world, but
I agree with
job
both sides
market.
of it. I'm like, I think there should be protections because the unexpected is the unexpected. As far as it being paid, it doesn't matter to me if it's paid or not. I think if I'm pregnant and I have to take off work to take care of the child, then I should have a job whenever I get,
I
when I
agree
get
with
that out
that,
of the
but
way.
then it's also, it's like, I would see the side where it's like you should have a job when you come back, but it's like whether or not they pay you, that's where I feel like
No, the pay is irrelevant to
it's
me.
like it was a choice to go have a kid. So it's like, why should I as the employer have to go pay you to
Yes,
take time
I
off?
do agree with that. But I think
I think it's a good idea that they should, but not necessarily required.
I think the when you come back to work, you should have a job, and that's it. Like, but there's a whole bunch of nonsense out there that you don't really know about it until you run across it. That you're like,
Yeah.
that's a little
that's
a little
real.
wild. You know what I mean?
That
I'm
happens.
like you got fired for missing work because you had a baby.
That just seems weird. That's
Like that's
I don't know why firing would be the choice. Like why that was the decision versus
Now I might say this: it might have been because she could get unemployment.
hey, we'll actually help you out by
Yeah,
firing
like it
you.
might have been that. Might have been, hey, well, let's hook you up. They got everybody gets unemployment now. You're fired. Go draw that unemployment. There's some free
If that's
money.
the case, it's even better. But it's like I do get
Might have
if
been.
an employer can't afford to pay for them to, it's like, hey, you have a job when you come back, but it's just
Yeah, but as far as like our employees go, I mean, none of them are pregnant, I don't think, but there isn't anybody that would. I mean, we would pay them. There wouldn't be like. I mean, we'd ask them to work though too.
yeah,
Yeah. No, we understand you have a child and all that.
He's welcome to come up here.
Not come up here, but can you work from home? You think you can do some leasing from home while you're there? You know what I mean? Like we'll continue to pay you, your full wages. We're not asking you to work a full day, but every now and then, just
Which is fair.
do a little follow up.
Yeah, like get it on something that you can do.
When I was caring for Biggins when he was a little bitty, that's whenever we developed the text marketing, and I developed that system for holding a child with this hand and texting with this hand. I taught Braxton that system. Yeah,
Quick reply.
Quick reply. I set up all the quick replies. I was like, man, these are the 5 responses I have. These are only 5 responses I have to give. Wrote them out in the quick replies to where I could just click with one mouse. So I would never have to use the keyboard hand because the keyboard hand was holding a baby. So anyways, Braxton, old real estate markets got a lot of life now in between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Little pop.
It is it's doing surprisingly well. As far as motivation in the marketplace and selling and all that, it seems to me investors still aren't buying. The duplex offer is a couple. They're buying it in their personal name. They didn't write it in a
They're living that American dream that everybody talks about.
That they did
I
not
want to
write
buy a
it.
duplex and live on one side, around at the other.
I guess. I mean, I assume that's what they're going to do. I mean, I can't imagine them doing anything else. But pretty wild to me that it wasn't. So the investor buyers are currently not in there. Interest rates. You got any refis going through?
Not any recent rates.
No, what
Not
rate
there
quotes? Hadn't made it that far along. Did just get one denied. You think that's a real
Yes.
denial?
I don't know. Because they did change to now 70% loan to value
So they lowered the loan of value.
on a 30-year product. Granted, they were only ever at 75, but still it's lower.
Yep.
I would have to repull comps, and I will later. I remember there being quite a bit more than how they made it seem.
It's a small. It's a small market, but it was selling a lot of stuff.
I'll send them the appraisal, like what we had. Like, hey, look, I mean, we had real data to go off of this.
So it was.
'Cause it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. But arguing with them, that secondary money, that non-QM money, dries up. It's the very first money to disappear from the marketplace. Surprised it's still hanging in there. You know what I mean? But
So at least looking at stuff.
yeah, I mean, it's just like when COVID hit. So COVID hit, the non-QM money evaporated instantly. 90% of hard money lenders put the pause on. So hard money lenders came back probably within a month. Hard money lenders entered back into the marketplace. Jet never quit lending, by the way. Jet lending never paused. They closed a $400,000 refi for us in Comanche, Texas. Where's Comanche?
Middle of nowhere.
Right. I was like, oh man. It was a cash out refi. So that money that we got out of there was going to Coleman to remodel those apartments. Okay, so we're pulling money out of Comanche to go remodel Coleman, and I was like, there's no way they're going to stay with this. And they stayed with it. And so we pulled that money out. They gave us a rehab budget on Comanche as well. So we rehabbed Comanche and started on Coleman at the same time, right in the middle of COVID, though. I mean, right dead March, shut down the economy, stay indoors, COVID. They funded a deal for us in Comanche. So if people want to know why I'm with Jet Lending, bro, I'm ride or die. Like, they do not, they have $85 million on the street right now and are trying to get to $100 million on the street in this economy. Now, they're very good at evaluating
They're
deals.
conservative. I mean, they make sure everything's taken care of, looked at, analyzed. Like, it's not playing fast and loose. It's just, constant steam ahead.
5,000 deals worth of experience. Owner of Jet
Yeah.
has Eddie Gant. So
What is it, 2004?
What?
When they started 2006?
No, they started in 97.
Oh.
Was
So-
that the company John?
Rob.
Yeah.
Rob will be back next week.
Yeah, so Rob will be here next week. So I'm just telling you guys, like your hard money lender is getting squirrely. Nothing sucks more than being at the closing table and not getting to close because the lender pulls out at the last minute. So non-QM money, first to do that. And guys, if you need a loan, we are Jet reps. So you can go to roughneck2realestate.com and
Hook you up.
and we'll give you a loan. But I just know that non-QM money, they went into tertiary markets and it was a stretch. They wouldn't even look at our 20 units there 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was. And then they were going to do a single family. So, I mean, they kind of stretched their boundaries whenever things were good. Now things are slowing down. So I think I just think they don't want to do the rural markets anymore. I think they're going to get way more conservative on that. It's just a personal opinion.
What's QM money?
Qualified mortgage.
So a qualified mortgage. So non-QM just means that it's not going to be a qualified mortgage. It's going to have higher interest. It's going to
The whole just loan process is a little bit different in what they actually look at. They try to look more at the asset as opposed to how if you go to a bank for refinance, they're going to look at tax returns and income, stuff like that.
Got you.
They
So
look more
any like non-bank, like hard money lenders, like non-QM.
all hard money lenders are non-QM, but this is like 30-year money. It's a real mortgage.
It's like they're called mortgage capital will be at the end of their name or something. Mortgage brokers. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like
Got you.
So when what they do is they take that paper and they sell it to Wall Street, and so when they originate it non-QM. There's a lot more points up front. There's a looser lending guidelines because you're not going to be living there.
Yeah.
It's an investment product. Ton of regulatory things that don't apply to them, so they charge a higher interest rate and more points. But when they sell it to Wall Street discounts it a little bit because it's not a qualified mortgage. Wall Street likes to buy qualified mortgages because they feel like it's safer because, if Braxton gets in a bind, he's not going to default on his personal residence, but might default on an investment property.
Yeah.
So, anyways, non-QM money, it leaves the marketplace first. This is kind of the first sign we've seen of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think the tertiary markets, I thought getting that loan across the finish line was going to be whatever. Now when you're underwriting deals, you're going to have to start. I know a lot of people are out there doing the Burr method. Do you know what the Burr method is?
Mm-hmm.
It's BRRRRRRR.
Yeah, something like that.
B, press R till I pick up.
Buy, rehab, rent, refinance.
Yes. The Burr method is a way to buy with private capital, hard money, something of that nature. Buy at a deep enough discount that whenever you refinance it, you don't have to bring money to the final closing. I'm seeing less and less community banks, less and less lenders that will even do that. Every single loan we've closed in the last 2 months, we've had to bring money to closing. Your balance sheet is a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Your banking relationships are new and personal, right? These are all people that referred you.
Yeah, I think that does help. It's like it's tight. I'm going from a strong referral to not just somebody,
Yeah.
The
only one that you've done that you didn't have a strong referral was the one with Happy.
Yes.
And did you have to bring money to closing on it?
I had to roll money over.
What do you mean?
To carry the private and second lien.
Yeah.
Just because he felt that he knew the property, didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah.
So how much? What loan to value did they do?
It appraised at 120, and I think they loaned 45.5.
What?
Yeah. So they're real safe. But my aunt, she was cool. She's like, yeah, I'll get she's all about it. She didn't care,
She's like, I'll take a second.
I'm like, and she's like, yeah. I'm like, and you're going to get a better return. She's like, that's fine too.
So fun.
Just double that up. Like,
Yeah.
you need to, if you're ever in second lien, you need to expect higher.
Yeah, get a higher interest rate.
Had to explain that. Like, no,
She's
you
like,
need
no,
to take more.
that's not good. I don't like 12%, Bracky. I want to help you out.
Nope, you need to take it.
Take
you
the
need to
12
take the good return.
Yeah, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. But you see right there. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the difference in banking today versus banking yesterday. Now in Casa, you didn't have to bring a lot.
I brought like $200.
Yeah,
So
so
that was just because it
banking
was too
relation.
late. Yeah.
Well, and it was the introduction. It was.
And I also only asked for that loan amount too. I asked for, I think, 40 on it.
Yeah.
So that was what I got.
So-
I didn't want to pull out equity or anything like that. Just as little as I can to pay everything off. That was it.
Under leveraged. The one thing Happy did do though is 6.25% interest.
Yes.
When we're getting 9, so interest rates had shifted that much, but they stuck with their original quote to you.
Yep.
So it took a while to get that one closed. Title.
It was title and they got an appraisal on it. Both those, it's just the panhandle. It's just slow.
Just slow as Christmas. Well, that's nice to know.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of that's kind of
And he also said yes to Snyder too. Same guy at Happy.
So you're in the process of that.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all have you done your evaluation on? So this is I got on Braxton's ass a little bit. Braxton, do I get on your ass a lot?
Not really.
I asked Braxton a question, and I said, "You're trying." So y'all bought 9 doors in Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the gross rents. I don't know anything of it. What'd y'all pay for the 9?
165.
165. That's with assignment, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much money you've put into them yet?
I think that's at 13.
So you've put 13,
12 or 13, yeah.
Got a little bit higher rent rates. What are you getting on a apartment right now?
One they got like 700 or something.
That's good.
Wild.
No, it's oil field country out there.
Yeah.
So,
And but then there's still one at like 500 or something, and then there's some mid sixes. So I think they just kind of been testing it.
yeah.
But rehabs are basic. They're nice.
And you got a duplex that y'all listed for 85.
I don't think it ever got listed after confirming with Spoon. So,
Who called that one?
what do you mean?
Who told you that?
You told me, yeah. I don't. I'm not so sure this listed duplex has been listed.
Yeah. Anyway, so I called. I go in and I check on property management loosely. I just go look at the board, and so anyways, there was some misinformation in between property management and ownership, which is Braxton and Spoon. So I was trying to get that cleared up, and Braxton didn't know the answers to my questions, and I was like, well, who's flying this umbrella out there and fucking Snyder, like, and Braxton's like, well, I think Spoon. I'm like, well, Spoon might think you're flying the umbrella because it appears nobody knows what the hell's going on in Snyder because Spoon don't know, you don't know, and property management don't know. And there was a duplex that y'all were going to list for 80, and I was like, you're batshit crazy trying to sell a damn duplex for 80 in Snyder that needs work. I'm like, I get you're trying to lower your basis, but do you know what it's going to take to rehab that? And until you know what it's going to take to rehab it, you don't know what you need to sell it for. Because if it takes $10,000 to rehab that duplex and you get another $1,400 a month rent, do you do that deal?
Yes.
If it takes 80 to rehab that duplex,
9,500.
That's what your bid is? Okay. So you're
Both
gonna,
units.
Both units.
Total.
Yeah. So now you know you're going to rehab that. You're not going to sell it. Okay. But if you get an $80,000 bid to redo that duplex, now what's the sales price on it?
As much as I mean, whatever.
10.
Yeah, $10. Like
it inverts.
Yeah.
And you can't make a decision until you have all that data. And so that was a conversation I was having with Braxton. I was like, I know that when you're trying to do this, when you're trying to build this out and trying to you don't do it willy-nilly. You don't just say, well, let's see if we can get $80,000 for a duplex. It don't make no sense. Like, you wouldn't sell that for $80,000 if another 10 would get it ready. It adds too much value to the portfolio as selling it for 9 units.
Even $600 a month.
That's right.
Each.
But if it's going to take a huge capital injection, then you got to give the motherfucker away, because now you're the motivated seller. And then there's a sliding scale in between. You get what I mean?
Of when you realize that you are.
Yes. And look, it's not easy. It's not always fun, but those are the things that you got to do. So you got the $9,500 bid. You probably sent him half of it already.
So there's the third unit. So there's the 3 left. 6 have already been done. Other one was like $2,800, so he's doing that right now.
Yep.
And then that'll be the last building and completely done.
Yeah, just knock it in the head. $13,000, this deal's over with.
We've got the money in escrow for it, and pretty much every single unit will have been completely redone.
When you get that done and you get those occupied or up the road to being occupied, then you go to the $500 a month guy that's paying $500 a month rent, and you evaluate, how does the inside of that unit look, right? How is it? What's the circumstances surrounding this tenant? So, is this tenant a young, able-bodied man like you that is making plenty of money? Is the tenant on a fixed income? Okay. The human approach to this is very simple. If the tenant's on a fixed income, you don't worry about raising the rent. If you got to go up $25 or $30 or whatever it is, you got to do that. But you don't jump it to $800 a month and force that person out onto the streets. But if they are a young, able-bodied man driving a Mustang and a F-250 on 37s,
They could probably afford.
you go ahead and raise their motherfucking rent. You get them back. You help them grow up. You say, hey, sir, it's time to grow up. Less PlayStation, more work, sir. And that's just how you do it. Depending on how the unit looks on the inside will also affect.
Because if he moves out, is the extra $200 a month worth however much it takes?
Worth having to spend $8,000 or $9,000 on it, because it's Partyville in there. You know what I mean? So there is something to that. But you know what I always look at whenever we bought Comanche, it was like we had the blind guy, we had the old lady in the back, we had another old lady in the back. We had like 3 or 4 people on fixed income. And then we had a bunch of hood rats that were just in there dealing drugs and fucking acting like assholes. And I was like, they're all getting rent raises. These 3 people never get rent raise unless we have to, unless water goes up, unless, you know what I mean? Something happens to where our cost has increased.
Right.
We're going to pass that cost on to them. But
well, that's what I need to do it with Post, because it's like, that's finally through. Like,
yes,
it's got to go up. I don't want to do it to good people at Post. They pay.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, yes. If they're on a fixed income, though, just keep that in mind when you're doing that. The karma will be worth it.
Well, I think we calculated it out. It's like $80 a month extra per unit that it'll take to now cash flow about the same.
Yeah.
So
So-
that's not a lot. And I'm not making any more off of it. It's just making me not lose money.
That's right, and you're not a charity. You can't run a charity, but you make those decisions, you know, in a human manner. It's you know, if now the other thing is, this is an absolute must. Are they taking care of the unit? Because the flip side of that coin is we did the same thing in Hamilton, but we had a dude living in there that had stacked trash this high. You weren't working for us whenever
Not Hamilton, no.
we had to call adult protective services on that guy. We thought he had a dead body in there.
Dang.
We went, like, the neighbor started complaining about the smell, and he was an inherited tenant, and I was like, look, I don't know anything about him. So we went there thinking he was dead, and we go trying to get in. He finally comes to the door. We got the police there because we think there's a dead body in there, and the police were like, let us in. We're something smells dead in there. And we went in, and you could just shuffle through the trash. And we were like, I mean, that guy, wherever he had to go, he had to go. He could not stay in that filth, in that condition. If he was taking care of it, he could live there. I mean, we still got an original gangster in Hamilton that we've never raised rent on. He's like 85 years old. He's got a flower garden. I mean, he takes care of it. He keeps his unit clean. Good to go. This gentleman, he had to go. He wasn't taking care of the unit. It smelled bad. It was just complete trashed out. It was just couldn't happen. So I don't know. The state of the union wise, I'm cautiously optimistic. Week to week might be data wise. The real estate market is showing good data in our own personal portfolio. Showings are still dog ass slow, but offers still come in. It just appears to be a 90-day market.
I'm curious to see how everything kind of looks week or two after Christmas. Maybe after New Year's. After New Year's. If it starts, if we see a real pop, or if it kind of just has the same little steady.
It doesn't. Typically, January is a mix up. Everything picks up in February. By March, there's
Getting
a lot of
closer
people buzzing
to-
around. But these layoffs and everything that's going on in the economy, it's a noisy place. It's a noisy place right now. I don't think the tech layoffs really. I don't look at them and go, oh, this is bad or terrible. The FedEx layoffs I was like, that's a little.
Yeah, that's rough.
I was like, that's not normal.
This could be all speculation, but you think about it, most of the tech companies are in California. Might just send more out, more buyers in Texas.
It probably will. I mean, it most likely will. Texas's economy, between oil, energy, I mean, hell, even wind and solar. I mean, they're doing so much in wind and solar. The landmen are upon us. They are leasing land for wind and solar as fast as they can. And you see what's happening in our own county. I mean,
Yeah.
hell, people are cashing big checks, letting people put solar on their place. So the wind and solar that's taking place in Texas, mixed with the oil and natural gas, that's also an extremely robust tech economy down in Austin. And then Houston's got the medical, finest medical facilities in the nation. I mean, it's just a robust economy here. Texas will be more insulated than other parts of the country, most likely. nobody has a crystal ball, but
Well, it's not to say that it's indestructible, but it does seem like there's a whole lot more infrastructural jobs than most any other place.
And Texas got $27 billion surplus. In the
Ports alone too.
do what?
Water access.
Yes, and then I think you'll have to Google it, but Joe Biden's little infrastructure bill, I think Texas got a $27 billion slice of that pie.
It's a little lick.
to do infrastructure work. So, I mean, we're going to be getting some better roads and bridges. Yeah, $35 billion. There you go. So we got a $27 billion tax surplus. Thank you, property tax owners in Texas, that they raised your appraisal value. That's how they got that money. They're lowering your tax rate, though. Don't worry, they're going to lower your tax rate. It's all hoopla, but anyways, and then the $35 billion from Biden's infrastructure plan, going to create a lot of jobs. But I mean, guys, rents now. If you're getting less than $1,000 a month rent, just consider it a blessing. $1,000 seems to be baseline. I would have never thought in a million years half the stuff that we have now would be renting that high, but I mean, that's just where the market is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything else. I mean, our apartments we still have apartments well less than $1,000, but if you're in a house for less than $1,000 a month, anywhere in the state of Texas, you're doing good. What do you think of the mustache, Braxton? I'm gonna grow it out strong. I'm gonna show you what this thing can do. I'm gonna have a Christmas stash.
It's just funny because you always talk like, it'll come. I don't need that. It'll come.
I can do it.
Popped up since I saw you, Friday?
I mean,
come Monday, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, once it makes it past the awkward stage, which it already has, once it quits itching, that it's all over with. Mm-hmm. Then it gets so long that it becomes awkward because it's covering your lip, and now you're chewing on it when you eat.
You gotta trim that right there. Keep letting the sides grow and get the thickness right there.
I don't know nothing about trim. I trim my beard and neck today.
You gotta let it run all the way down.
Gotta let it run all the way down. But anyways, Braxton, real estate's hot. Gonna do a different generations after this probably. I don't know what time it is. Got a little bit of time.
Hour long.
Yeah, so we'll be good to go. So, anyways, thank you, people. Spoon did Spoon put his $10 in the super chat?
No, we didn't.
Like, subscribe, all the things, people.
No, but Logan loves listening as he works, and 18sex.xyz, new A dating online. Just, I guess they knew we were talking about dating for Braxton. So
yeah, that we got a little spam bot in there, Braxton.
I didn't know they got on live chats.
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of live YouTubes.
So, anyways, we'll holler later.
This podcast was brought to you by GBT Property Management. Thanks for watching.
If you like what you've seen here, find Braxton on Tinder and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just keep swiping. He's on there.